Hello, everyone. You are listening to the Super Intelligent Podcast with Emily Forlini and me, Mike Elgin. We are your hosts, and we're here to, I don't know what we're here. What are we here to do, Emily? I think we're here to talk about all the advanced technological achievements and wrong turns that the industry has been making. How are you doing?
Good. I just got back from the gym. I'm wearing my little corporate hoodie, little Ziff Davis hoodie, little known parent company of PC Mag, CNET,
Gotta
Mashable,
represent.
Lifehacker. You know, it's got great fuzz inside. I never am going to wash it. I love it.
Great. I haven't seen the inside of a gym for 5 years, something like that. So I'm glad one of us is working out and
Yes.
being very healthy. I just had a glass of vermouth. Does that count as a workout?
I think that gets your heart rate up. Yeah.
All right. I'm
Right?
here in
Or no,
Barcelona.
actually it depresses your heart rate. Never mind.
Something like it's got a lot of sugar in it, so maybe it does elevate the heart rate. I don't know. We're not experts in vermouth, but yeah, it's really nice here in Catalonia. Actually, we're in a tiny town in a 280-year-old house, and enjoying ourselves. It's been a lot of fun. Well, we should talk about something that has been going on. I've been talking about this for a long time, actually, which is a backlash against AI content. I've been sort of exercised about this topic for a while because I've noticed that there hasn't been enough of a backlash against AI content. It sort of grows and grows and grows. The speed with which people are churning out. There's some video content creators who are churning out 100 videos a day, and there are podcasters, there are podcast companies that have 5,000 podcast shows, and each show costs them, a couple of dollars to make.
Wow.
So the world of people who are making content, writing books, writing articles, making podcasts, creating art, doing photography, all the things that people do to create content are just being overwhelmed by the sheer volume of AI-based content. And I have always believed that at some point it's going to get ridiculous. I mean, it's already something like 80% of the content being put online now is AI generated.
Wow.
or AI is part of it. And literally by this time next year, it'll be 99% at the rate that things are growing. So there has to be a pushback. And I've always been arguing that we don't need to push back. Like we don't need to just ban AI content. What we really need is for everybody from YouTube to audible.com to Amazon to whomever to just give us a button so we can turn it off if we want to. If we don't want to, that's great. If we want to, we should have the option. And so that's what I've been calling for. But nevertheless, some people are starting to ban it or claim that they will never ever use AI content. And this is sort of happening this week. So one of the biggest ones that I think has got some of the geeks excited, myself included,
geeks?
is
the
DC
content
Comics.
geeks? Okay.
The comic book geeks, the geekiest of the geeks, the comic book geeks.
Maybe
DC
they'll
Comics
save us.
co-publisher. Maybe they will. Jim Lee, he's the co-publisher of DC Comics, said on Wednesday that DC Comics would never use AI. He promised that DC Comics are, quote, grounded in humanity, and that human effort can't be replaced by algorithms. And it's interesting because one of his audiences for this commentary are illustrators who are probably freaking out. Of course, AI can generate comics like nothing. Marvel Studios is less strident in their anti-AI stance. They've said that, they haven't said anything. They haven't made any commitments either way, but they have used AI for opening credits for the Secret Invasion series, and they have used AI for posters for Fantastic Four, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a little bit more open, I guess, to the idea of AI.
Doesn't surprise me. I mean, they're the kings and queens of special effects. So I think whatever the new technology, whatever they can get their hands on, they're absolutely going to put that in movies. And maybe some people online will say, oh, they're using AI for this and that. But as long as the ticket sales, I think to me, that's all Marvel cares about. They just make movies with amazing action and visual, and they hope they get as much global sales as possible. And maybe the Americans will get some of the jokes. So I don't see Marvel caring about AI use at all, really.
Do you think the comic books themselves are different? I mean, this is one of the things I've been arguing for a long time, and I get a lot of skepticism in various AI related quarters of Reddit, which is that it matters. Even if you can't tell, it matters whether something has been AI created.
I think it matters. I just think Marvel to me has sold its soul so long ago. To me, they're just going for mass market movies. So I don't, maybe to me, lack of AI is almost more of an authentic, real creativity to it. Like in the comic book world, if you see a political cartoon made by a human, it just resonates in a way. And it's cool. It's kind of a lost art. You're like, wow, that's so clever. I really understand that. And it's so cool that you drew that. And it's just a different experience than watching a Marvel movie, which is already so otherworldly, so many special effects. So it's just, I see it as different camps. And to me, Marvel is just mass market, and something that's not AI produced is more homegrown. But there was that one movie, Oppenheimer, that you could tell the special effects were very. Who made that movie? You got to help me out. It was obviously it's the movie about making the atomic bomb. Huge movie last year, like won Oscars, and they did it the old-fashioned way. Like they exploded things in a field, to make the mushroom cloud for the bomb, and you could tell the movie had a bit of a more authentic energy. So really, I think if people are going for that, not using AI could be a good route.
Yeah, and that was Christopher Nolan, who loves to actually physically blow things up.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds fun. If you could pay me to do that, sure.
Yeah. And 2 other films recently have thrilled audiences because they're completely real. They're showing actual cameras on real stuff. One of which is Top Gun Maverick, which they just duct tape cameras inside of planes, and they had the actors flying at 6 Gs and doing corners and all that stuff. The other one was F1, which is the Brad Pitt vehicle, where he's a race car driver. I just saw that a couple of days ago. It's fantastic in the same way that Maverick is fantastic, because it's just the speed is so intense. And, they have this, camera on Brad Pitt, and Brad Pitt physically is going that fast in a car. So it's just so much better than the old fashioned Hollywood thing where they have a film behind them of the road going by and they're just sitting in it. Again, there's a couple of extras like making the car bounce and stuff like that.
Fan.
Hollywood's been doing that forever. Exactly. So, so realism, there's a nascent kind of demand for realism as a backlash. I really think that the Maverick things and the F1 type of approach to filmmaking is very much a backlash against the ease with which computer generated special effects can be generated. And I think that, it's like, I remember I stood in line for Star Wars when it first came out, 70 something. And back then it was like, oh my God, the special effects in this movie were just like 10 times better than any of their special effects. You look at them now, they look ridiculous.
No, they're pretty good.
But I think that actual reality is kind of a novelty for movies. And so some of them are, sort of getting into it. Okay. So remember that scandal when Will Smith, I think it was, people were complaining that one of his videos had AI generated audience members, and people were zeroing in on the details. And, this fan member is holding up a sign, but he has 6 fingers. And
yeah, I mean, there were also people holding posters. It was as if, I don't know, he was Justin Bieber. It was like this huge audience of people just going crazy for Will Smith. And I did watch it and I was like, is this realistic? I mean, I don't know.
And stuff like that. Yeah, it was really over the top.
Really over the top.
Well, so, Taylor Swift, what about it? Even Taylor Swift had some backlash because she used AI in a video for a campaign. It wasn't even like a music video, but it was a scavenger hunt campaign to promote her album, The Life of a Showgirl. And fans started doing the same thing. They were zeroing in on, there's a squirrel that only had 3 limbs and, or something like that. And so she got actually a lot of pushback from the Swifties, partly because she has been a vocal critic of AI because she's been targeted by Donald Trump, who retweeted this video appearing to show that she supported him, even though she didn't. And it was an AI generated video. She's been targeted for AI generated like deepfake type pornography and stuff like that. So she's been a victim of AI and has spoken out against it. And now she's using it. And her Swiftie fans, some of them are upset about it.
I mean, I think it gives, I like that people have a backlash. I mean, as long as human created content has a value to people, then it will persist. I do worry that people's taste for that will just degrade. They'll be like, oh, just use AI. Have you heard of this concept called the higher taste? You might know it.
No, I haven't. No, I've never heard that.
Be good for Gastronomad, but it's like, you might like something, but it's just because you don't have like a higher taste for something else. So maybe you, it's actually like an art example. Like every picture in your house is just a print printed off the internet from Etsy. You know, they're colorful, they're cute, but you know, you haven't really appreciated or leveled up to like an oil painting until maybe someone gets you one. You're like, wow, that looks really great on the wall. And you start developing the higher taste. And now you can't undo it. And now you look at your Etsy prints and you're like, oh, wow, that looks like crap. So you've developed the higher taste. Or let's say you are an alcoholic and you just live your life that way. And
Mhm.
to what we were talking about earlier, you don't think you need to go to the gym. It doesn't make you feel good, but maybe someone brings you to a class and then you go do a workout and you start to feel good and you're like, oh, actually something feels better than drinking alcohol. And now all of a sudden you've developed like the higher taste because you kind of saw, maybe it's like a Plato's cave thing. You see the
Mhm.
light and it changes the way you look at things. So I just worry that with all the AI stuff, people are going to get kind of dragged down to not appreciating human work and they won't have the higher taste for authentic, creative, human generated content. They'll just be looking at their Sora feed and they'll just be like, oh, this is good enough. It's colorful, it's dynamic, it changes, it's my interest. You know, this is good enough. The internet's fine, but they won't know that it could be so much more real and authentic and powerful and connecting if there was actual human generated content. So I just worried about people's taste getting watered down and they just accept AI.
Tragically, we've seen it happen.
Right.
So, two examples are music, which before MP3 downloads, before cassette tape, mixtape type of stuff, and people had albums, people used to spend all their money on stereo equipment and buy albums
Mm-hmm.
and really care about the quality of music. And then with new media coming out, they cared less and less about the quality of music. And Apple's kind of been a holdout. They've been trying to sort of kind of like boost the quality of music. There've been other, escaping my memory for the moment, better form factors that have come out, and hardly anybody cares about that stuff. Nobody really cares about the quality of the sound as much
No.
as other factors in music. Another example is Instagram. Instagram pictures look like absolute garbage. They are compressed to the point of, yeah, exactly. And Google Photos the same way.
Yep. That's
They
actually
just
a
look
great
horrible.
example. And we're used to that now.
Yep.
So we have lost the taste. And so it's unclear if people can get the higher taste for photography back. I mean, there's just so many ways that technology has done that out of convenience. Like, oh, it's good enough, you know?
Yeah.
So I worry.
I can feel it when I'm telling people, oh, no, you don't understand. This picture I took, like, so sometimes we'll be some people and we'll all take a picture of the same thing. I'm like, well, you should get my picture because you took it with an iPhone 13 and I took it with $6,000 worth of digital equipment, and it's like going to look a million times better, and the resolution's going to be better. It's not going to have that warped phone look. It's not going to be degraded. And people are like, yeah, whatever. It's like, you can feel that people just don't care at all, like about photo
Right.
quality. And that's depressing. But there's also kind of there's always like with the higher taste thing you're talking about, there's also a minority who have a backlash. And here's another example. So over the last, I don't know, let's call it 100 years, 120 years, the quality of bread that people eat has gone down and down and down and down and down.
Another great example.
Globally.
Yep.
Here in Spain, people think, oh, in Europe, they're having all this great bread. No, they're not. They're eating garbage. They're eating shit bread through most of Europe. It's a little better in Germany. It's a little better in like the Netherlands and some other places where the higher percentage of the bread that people eat is higher quality bread. For the most part, people are getting garbage bread from the supermarket, yeast leaven using modern wheat, which is a mutated super high gluten wheat. It's cheap. It looks like crap. It tastes like crap. The texture's
This
horrible.
is just
It's stale
an
immediately.
indictment on European bread eaters.
Absolutely.
Woo. Yeah.
I had a piece of this bread like half an hour ago.
Well, we're eating terrible bread in the U.S. as well. Like terrible.
Exactly. I mean,
they're probably eating it because of us. They're honestly eating it because we mass produced it. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's cheaper and it's a better product. It's an inferior food, but it's a superior product because for shipping reasons, for cost reasons, all these other
Yes.
reasons. But there's also a huge backlash. More people are eating sourdough bread, high quality bread, ancient grain bread, lower gluten bread, all these different kinds of breads. We have more bread varieties. So if you live in where you live, or you live in California, where I've spent most of my time when I'm in the US, or if you're in big cities like Paris or Barcelona, there's a bakery in Barcelona called Practic Bakery that has this fantastic bread. And so there's a minority of people who are having better bread than people used to have, much better bread.
Interesting.
And the majority are having much worse bread than people used to have. So you have this sort of degrading quality. So I'll give you an example. If I took the baguette basically that I ate this afternoon back in time in my time machine and went to somebody in Spain, some grandmother in Spain who lived in 1910, she would be like, "What's wrong with this bread? This is like it's like a cracker that's shaped like bread or something. I don't know what this is." Right? She would recognize it as being inferior to any bread she'd ever had. But over the decades, people got used to inferior stuff, and then there was so much sort of like pushback at the end that people went crazy, especially during COVID. Everybody started making sourdough bread. So anyway,
Yeah,
that
I'm
sort of
following.
thing happens.
That's
in
exactly
culture.
what I'm talking about. Yes.
And I think it's happening in AI as well. So I think, like you're saying, the majority of people will be like, yeah, whatever, who cares if it's human made? And then there'll be a minority who are like, no, I actually really do care. If I'm reading poetry, I'm reading a story, if I'm reading about somebody telling me about human experiences of love, of heartbreak, of loss, of all these things that people go through, I don't want machine generated words to come at me. Like, I care that the person who's writing it has experienced them things. And now I have a connection with that person because we have a shared connection as human beings through our experiences.
Mm-hmm.
That either matters or it doesn't. If it doesn't matter, you want the experience of simulating connection with another person, or you want to actually connect with another person. You either care or you don't. So anyway, that sort of thing is happening quite a bit. The other problem, which I think is temporary, is that a lot of AI generated content is low quality. So some Michigan public libraries are starting to ban AI generated books from the library. They're actually going through books as they're coming in, and they're trying to check for them to see if they're AI generated, especially children's books. People are churning out children's books. They're using AI to make these garbage illustrations. The words are nonsensical and badly written, and they're just making, some people are making 50 books a day right on Amazon.
I mean, the library wants people to have a good experience. They don't want people to come check out books, and like, all these books are garbage. So I appreciate that they're doing a little old-fashioned curation there.
Me too. But what happens when the AI is better and the books are good, right? What happens when the pictures look great and the words make sense and the story is cohesive? Does it matter or does it not matter? This is something we're going to be confronting very soon. And I think, my sort of free speech, anti-Luddite impulse is to say, we just need disclosure so people know what it is. Right?
Yep. It's just not that easy. It's not that easy because it's almost always a mix of the AI and the computer, or the AI and the human. So what are you disclosing? And even the patent office, USPTO, issued new guidance on if you can get a patent with AI or not. And they basically concluded, yes, you can use AI and you can get a patent for work. You just have to clearly state what the human did and what the AI did and what the contributions were. And I think that's different than a children's book, where you're not going to go through and say this line or this word was AI, this illustration. But even as I'm talking, I'm realizing you could say illustration by AI. I mean, if you're just a writer, not an illustrator at all, it's pretty easy to that's a clear line in the sand. Like, I did not create any of these illustrations, so take from that what you will. I think that could be just fine to me.
Other people are banning AI stuff, even on Reddit. So there's some subreddits like our Picks and our Art that are banning or putting limitations on AI generated content. Amazon put new rules in place for self-published books that now have to disclose if something's been mostly generated by AI.
Wait,
and
my
again,
favorite,
they're like the librarian.
My favorite on that was after AI ChatGPT came out, there were so many books on Amazon about how to compete in AI written by AI. Just like this
Yes,
is just the
exactly.
dumbest self-published, guide to winning the AI race, guide to getting rich in AI. And it's just like verbatim just printed from ChatGPT and sold on Amazon. Like the most useless book of all time. There were so many of them. Yeah.
Reminded me just ever so slightly of what's his name's book 4 Hour Work Week,
Mm.
written in 2004 or something like that. Gonna come up with his name in a sec, but like he basically had a chapter. His whole idea is that you need to automate your work life so that you can just have income just being automatically generated. And one of his ideas was people like music tracks, if they're working on their hip hop lyrics and they want to get a music that's just music without the lyrics so they can practice or write songs or whatever. And so he had a bunch of these songs generated on a catalog, and he set it up so this company, you would go and you'd pick 12 songs, and they would burn it to a CD and mail it to you. And the idea was once he got it set up, that would just happen and money would just come in and he wouldn't have to do anything. Well, Tim Ferriss is Timothy Ferriss is the author of that. And one of his chapters was about hiring a personal assistant from India. And there were a bunch of companies.
I don't know if you could write that today.
Well,
it feels weird.
He had his assistant write the chapter.
Oh, I'm sure he automated. Yeah, okay, so he automated it. Great.
By having just said write a chapter about hiring a personal assistant. Kevin, our producer, my son, had an assistant from India for a while when it was craze. And anyway, that was pretty funny.
Who actually edits our podcast? It's actually not him.
It's actually not him. Yeah, he's actually doing 100 podcasts, but he's got 100 people in other countries. He's offshored the whole thing. Wikimedia Foundation having to put new flags and controls in just starting this month because there's so many AI generated edits in Wikipedia. And again, this is not about just sort of like being against AI. This is about errors and alternative facts, and sort of they're citing books that don't exist. And it's just hallucination central for some of these edits, for a growing number of edits. So they're trying to crack down on that. Also, Medium and Substack are pushing back. They have new rules for anybody who flags an article as being AI generated. They start putting watermarks on them and stuff like that. So anyway, the backlash has begun.
Well, interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. And again, half of them are because AI produces garbage and lies and hallucinations. I think that may be a temporary thing. So I think it's going to be a different set of decisions we have to make as a civilization when AI produces really high quality content. Then what? Then what do we do? So.
Right. Well, it's
again,
encouraging.
I think disclosure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you said it well when you talked about the bread, and there are a niche amount of people eating great bread, but the vast majority are just eating, from the store. It's so easy. We always opt for whatever is easiest and cheapest. That's just this powerful force in society we cannot shake. That's how capitalism works. That's how everything works. And it's just time and time again, we just gave so many examples. So we need to create a system where good content is encouraged and it is cheap and is accessible and is a legitimate good choice. And the AI is almost like subsidized right now. There's so much funding. Those companies aren't making a profit. It's a huge amount of computing and resources that it just appears on your screen like no big deal, but actually it's a really huge deal. So I don't know if that at some point people are going to be paying for it. And right now it's just this free for all. You can get as much AI content as you want. I really don't know how it's going to work out. I just hope that the good stuff wins in the end and we don't just all have terrible taste for soulless content, which I think is what people are afraid of right now.
I agree with all that. And, they're not really, the other part of it, besides just the costs and the environmental costs, is the fact that it's being generated on the work of content created by people. So it's, that the training data is almost entirely made of stuff that people have written and created and videos people have made. And that's really where it knows how things work and how they look and all that kind of stuff. So I personally think that we have to evolve quickly to the new reality, and we have to decide for ourselves what we want in terms of, why do we read content? Like, what's it for? And what's it for on the side of the content creator? Because, I know with writing is the only reason to write anything down is basically to capture your thoughts externally. And you would do that because you want to share your thoughts with other people, or you want to share your thoughts with yourself. So you can sort of take a look at what you think you believe or whatever. And then once you look at it, you kind of go, it's not exactly it. You tweak it and so on. And then you can end up with an essay or a book or an article or a blog post that actually reflects something that came out of your mind, that came out of your experience and all that kind of stuff. And if we stop doing that, what happens to us? What happens to our minds when we're not even considering our own thoughts, our beliefs, our knowledge? We just let machines do all that for us. Are we just basically just training ourselves to become consumers of everything? We just sit there consuming without a thought in our heads, no ability to have a critical thought or to analyze anything or to judge anything as being better or worse than anything else. We just receive content. Like that's a dystopian nightmare that bothers me. I think that one of the reasons you consume content is so somebody can create content. I mean, you certainly create content so somebody can consume it, right? But I think the other reverse is also true. Right? We want people thinking deep thoughts. So we read deep thoughts. And one of the reasons we read them is so that somebody will write them.
I think you can already see that we're seeing some of the effects just with how divided we are and how little we think about the nuances of every issue, and the rise of populist movements worldwide, which, spread so easily in a tweet-sized post. I mean, we're not really, by we, I just mean, I guess humans, everybody, are just really tending towards quick fix information. So, and we've already lost the taste for dissecting and really getting into stuff or reading a longer form thing. It's like, long form, what? That's a niche. Very few people are reading that. So we're already kind of there. And I just think how divided we are, how much we don't trust each other, how our dialogue is so weak in so many areas, how our innovation is all concentrated towards these mega tech companies who have the most money. There's just so many things that are neglected. I think that we're already seeing the effect. I don't want to be too doomsday though. Maybe it can turn around and maybe we'll hit a rock bottom and bounce back up and want higher quality thoughts and content. I just don't know if AI is really the ticket to get there. It just doesn't feel like it is at this point.
I have noticed how quickly people's estimation of AI generated content is. For example, Sora 2 came out and people started using the tool to insert themselves into scenarios. Some of our tech reporter colleagues just made a bunch of videos of themselves playing cards or being football coaches or just, and the initial reaction in like the first week that this came out was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is the end of XYZ. This is the beginning of ABC. This is all a new world. It's going to blah, blah, blah. Everybody's just blown away. And then in the last week or so, I've seen a lot of stuff saying, but why? Like, what's it for? This is boring. I'm already fed up with these videos. So initially, we're shocked by the technical advancement of it. Everybody likes to contrast the early videos of Will Smith eating pasta with the current ones, and you can see how quickly it's improved. Will Smith is much better at eating pasta than used to be, and yet at the end of the day, it's a parlor trick. Once you acclimate to the technological achievement, you're kind of like, so who wants to see videos of Will Smith eating pasta? It's useless unless you're a propagandist or you're a liar or you're a scammer or, it's like to think of the positive uses for photography that convincingly tricks you into believing you're looking at something that doesn't exist. It's hard to think of positive uses for that.
Yeah. I mean, there's also something people need to know is that even OpenAI thought that was kind of a BS product. Like Sam Altman tweeted that the point of it was to make money to buy more GPUs and more compute power. So he was like, yeah, it's kind of just to make people smile. That's what he said. It's It's an entertainment app and we need to make money. So it's like, you don't need to like Sora. You don't need to care about it. You don't need to be interested or make a video. It's not a product that it was supposed to be good. It was supposed to be a party trick that got people to sign up. So if you don't like it, you don't need to feel like, oh, I'm missing the AI wave. What's wrong with me? Why don't I care about this new tech? I'm such a Luddite. It's like, maybe because it's not a good product and the people who made it also think that. So there's so much hype online. It's like people feel pressured to hype it when, I mean, of course, people are not hyping it, but a lot of people are, either to get their own likes and retweets or whatever. But okay, if the people who made this product say it's dumb, listen, it's probably dumb.
Yeah. And, on the parlor trick front, that's really the main use now is memes, right? You see something and at first you kind of catch yourself believing that it's real, and then something ridiculous happens. The lion and the dog on the front porch suddenly turn to the camera and flip off the camera and stuff like that. And you're like, oh yeah, I get it. But I just don't know how far that's going to take us. It's not that interesting. And yes, there'll be creative uses for it. But I think ultimately, a lot of people are going to crave reality. I think reality might even get more real.
Yeah.
Actually.
I'm trying to think of a counterpoint. I mean, it could be good for dreaming, like the person who, they're working a corporate job, they made a video of themselves as a football coach and they saw themselves in that environment and they were like, I really just want to quit my job and become a football coach and contribute to my community, spend time with kids, and maybe it helps them visualize. I mean, it's not reality, so it's a dreaming product, I guess. There could be some positive effects. I'm trying to think about it, but like I said, I also don't want to get too deep about it. I think it was always supposed to be stupid. It was always supposed to be a party trick.
And so the other thing that bothers me about AI generated videos and pictures is that let's say you want to visualize yourself as a coach, right? So you say, oh yeah, show me a video of me being a football coach. And then it's like digging deep into its training data and pulling out specific details. Like, why did it choose those color shoes? Why did it choose, what stadium is that? Like, who are these other people, the football players, like whose faces are those? Like, how is it deciding this? And so it's kind of, to me, my first reflex is, I don't want this to influence me, right? Because I don't.
It's going to though. And it also could include a lot of stereotypes in the way it depicts you. So
right.
Maybe to be a football coach, you have to be, it shows like this perfect high school stadium and all the players are so friendly and so nice and everything's great. And you're like, oh, I want to do that. And then you go past your own high school football field and it looks like crap and there's lumpy. And you're like, well, I only want it if it's perfect. That's not what I visualized. Like, you can't think of other ways because the AI is just showing you, how something is supposed to look. So it could be more stereotypical, less creative in the sense. I don't know. I don't know how people would take it, but yeah.
And we can't forget that the whole point of a novel, for example, a novel is painting a picture in your mind that has lots of specifics. Most of those specifics are coming from inside of you. They're coming from your experience, your training data, for lack of a better term. You say somebody walked in the room and you make in the room in your head, like this is the whole point of it. And I fear AI could take some of that away from us and make content like novels less relatable because, of course, Hemingway was the master of this. He said almost nothing and you saw everything in your mind. He would paint pictures in your mind with no words at all. That was the genius of Hemingway, and it transformed American literature. And that was the genius of it, because like we all have it inside of us, like these ideas about what things are like. And a novelist can sort of pull that out of ourselves. If AI is just handing it to us, it's a totally different thing. So I worry about that. And now you said something that I'm hearing a lot, which is, nobody reads anymore. Nobody reads books anymore. Nobody reads long form stuff anymore. And I wonder how true that actually is. Do you think there's any chance that isn't as true as people think it is?
I think there used to be a time when people socially would talk more about this book they're reading or this article they read that was maybe a more long form or opinion. People knew writers a bit more. Now when you get together, it's more, what show are you watching? Oh, what's it on? Is it Netflix? Is it Apple? To just feel like the dominating content form right now is not written. But you don't think so?
By the way, I wonder. I mean, I think that talking about content, and I hate the word content, but let's go ahead and keep using the word content, is harder nowadays because we all live in different content worlds. Used to be that a hit TV show, I think Seinfeld, the final episode of Seinfeld had 175 million live viewers. And nowadays, if a show, their season finale gets 10 million, it's the hit of the decade, right? So everybody's different. So you talk about people talking about shows. Well, it's like there's so many shows and they're all in different networks. Nobody has most people don't have all of the services that provide all the shows. And so like even that is difficult because lots and lots of people are not going to be seeing the shows. And even if they are watching the same shows, they're on season 3 and you're on season 1 and you don't want them to talk about it because they'll spoil it for you.
This is a good point. There's a lack of a unified experience. Yes.
Yeah. And certainly true of books. If I'm talking about a book, I don't know, you used to be able to say, oh, I'm reading this book. And oh yeah, I've been wanting to read that. Now you say, I'm reading this book and they're like, what? What's that? I've never heard of it.
Right.
And so there's just so much less unity in terms of what we're paying attention to that it's just very difficult. And even cultural references are difficult. I make cultural references all the time. I'm a cultural reference making fool. I just never stop doing it. And like most of the time, most of the people who hear me make those references are like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, our reference is dead.
Did not used to be the case. It kind of is, isn't it? Right?
Yeah. If not everyone has the same stuff, I guess you really have to know your audience.
Yeah. And so I just do it anyway. And then I say, and then I'll literally say, yeah, that's a Mark Twain reference. And then people go. And so,
yeah, if you're referencing Mark Twain, that's a no.
I mean,
that's
exactly.
That's my point is people just don't, that whole body of written work is just not a focus whatsoever, which is maybe sad.
I'm doubling down on it.
Yeah, double down.
We talked about ebook readers. I finally bought an ebook reader of my dreams.
Okay, which one?
Kobo Libra Color with a pen.
Cool.
Like, what's her name? Had a video. After we had that conversation, Terry Gross from NPR, they did a video on how she takes notes.
Wow.
So check it out. I'll put a link in the show notes for anybody curious about this, but she goes in and she gets these books and she's like marking everything up when she's preparing for an interview. She's very meticulous about taking notes and she's writing the margins. She talks about why she underlines things and writes in the margins. And it was so gratifying. Terry Gross, ladies and gentlemen, Terry Gross does it. So I'm not completely crazy, but that's what you can do with the Kobo Libra Color. It's one of the rare books where you don't, unlike the Kindle Scribe where you open up a box and you write in this blank space in the box and it just sits there, you actually just can highlight, underline, write in the margins, do all that stuff on your books and on articles. And if you resize it, all your notations like grow and shrink with the resizing. It's a cool product, even though it's been around for a couple of years already. Anyway, that's waiting for me back in California when I'm back there.
You know what's a shame? I mean, it'd be cool if there was an in-between the great books, the long books, like, Infinite Jest, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, big, thick ones, and a TV show. Like, why didn't short stories emerge in the middle and just become a written, well thought out composition that people's attention span would work with? Like, why do you think that just didn't happen? And it feels like it could have.
Well, here's a question for you. So everybody talks about shrinking attention spans. I think we've now dipped below goldfish in terms of attention times with things like TikTok, right? So a TikTok, what's the maximum nowadays? What's a typical TikTok video? It's a few seconds, like 7 seconds or something like that.
No,
and people can't wait.
They're longer. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's, it's a cliche to say that people don't have, they're watching these little clips and they're just going the next one. But look at podcasts, like you and I have been on podcasts together that are 3.5 hours long or more. And many podcasts are so long and people listen to them all the
Joe
way through.
Joe Rogan's like 2.5 hours.
Yeah. TV shows, they have
so long.
12 episode seasons. They have 15 seasons sometimes. We just started watching a show that's been around for a couple of years called Poker Face. And we watched 2 episodes and it was like, I don't know, they were like an hour each or something like that. And
that's another thing. Yes, we give our attention So we are so generous with TV shows, which I do not understand, and I think is, again, a lack of a higher taste. It's like we don't even know. It's so easy. Like we'll just, spend 4 hours on a Sunday watching a mid-range series. It's like we're the easiest customers for TV studios, Netflix, streaming services. It's like we have no standards whatsoever. I have a whole rant about finales. They're terrible now. Like why even watch to the end? But we do. We do it. Why do we do it? It's so bad. I don't know. We have no taste. We really don't.
Or we are hardwired for stories and we want to hear the beginning and the middle and the end. And
But they're
we get
bad
invested
stories.
in
They're
characters.
stretched to many episodes to make money. Like they're not good. It's just easy.
Right. The worst example is Walking Dead, which is they had nothing. Like I just want to see them put a pitchfork into a zombie skull. But actually it's like, there's like 35 minutes of this conversation between two of them about how much they miss their whatever. And it's like, I don't care about the characters. I don't care. They just bring on the zombies. I want to see somebody get whacked and shows to greater or lesser degrees are doing that sort of thing. Right. Like you're saying, they just filler. Fluff,
and they're playing with it. They want to know how much we'll tolerate. How many episodes can we squeeze in with the lowest writing, acting, and setting budget possible that they'll still watch? Like they're testing us, and we have just made it so easy for them. I mean, think of how many series we watch that are so drawn out. It's a 3-part special. Definitely could have been in one. Even movie sequels. It used to be
right.
1 book, 1 movie. Now it's 1 book, 3 movies, and we go. I mean, when I went to Wicked, I thought I was going to see Wicked, and it was like not a thing happened in the movie until the last 10 minutes. And then finally the Defying Gravity song that I thought was going to be in the beginning because it was in all the promotion. It just happens at the very end, and then it kicks off the action. I have to go back in a couple of years and see the next movie. And I'm like, I'm not going to go. Why? I'm not going to stand for this. So I think it's just because it's so easy and it's actually cheap with streaming services. So that's back to my theory. We just do it because it's relaxing. You don't have to move your body. Yeah, that's what's winning right now.
Yeah. Well, this is the beauty of self-published books, theoretically. Should be the beauty of podcasts. So the problem is they're saying, okay, we're going to do, so back in the day, a half an hour episode of TV was, really 21, 22 minutes and the rest was ads, right? So they were down to the second about how much of a show is. And then with streaming shows and stuff like that, it shouldn't matter how long it is. If they want to do a 10-minute episode, they should do it. If they want to do a 3-hour episode, they should do it. They don't do that though, because we're still sort of locked in this notion that as an organizing principle, we have to be within a certain range. But back to books, I think that, and this is something Kevin's always telling me, is like books should be whatever length they are. Like you shouldn't try to fill it out so that it's a 400-page book. If you have something to say and it ends up being a pamphlet, publish the pamphlet. And because why with technology nowadays, we don't need filler, right? We don't need filler and we don't need to artificially abbreviate stories or content. We have the opportunity with this podcast, with books we write, to a lesser extent with the articles that we write online, definitely true of newsletters like my newsletter. They should be as long as they are. And if I want to write, I should feel free to write a 4,000 word newsletter or a 400 word newsletter.
I agree. And actually, I had a brush with that this week. I'm writing some guy's coming out with a book about about undersea cables, about this subsea cables. So they're snaking all over the seafloor.
Prosecuting the fishermen who are.
Well, really, yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, they get attacked, and sometimes it's from an anchor, sometimes it's from the Chinese on Taiwan. But yeah, so it's just, there are these cables, and 95% to 99% of what we do on the internet flows through them. And they're just the size of a garden hose, which is just the craziest visual down in the deep on the sand all over the globe. And there's a really cool story about when the island of Tonga, which is a small nation off the coast of Australia and New Zealand, kind of in the Pacific over there, its one international cable got cut and it didn't have internet for months and months. And so it's like, what was life like? They couldn't use their credit cards, they couldn't bank, they couldn't text or call anyone. So they had centralized food distribution. They were going door to door to talk to people. So it's a really interesting just case study about what happened then, and then just the threats of subsea cables and, like I mentioned, Chinese, Taiwan, Russians, all the stuff going on. They want to sabotage them. But this book is 150 pages, and it's more like a pamphlet. And when I saw that, I was like, yes, this is the size this book needs to be. You don't need to, like so much nonfiction, you only read the first 150 pages anyway, because they just repeat the concepts over and over. And it's like, are you ever going to go over? So I had a brush with that this week, and I wish I had it with me. I just opened, they sent me a physical copy, but I'm like, yeah, I can read a book. Why aren't books just shorter? If that's the length of the story, just do it. That's it. Don't drag it out.
Right.
So
have you ever read War and Peace?
No. Tolstoy? Have you?
That's interminable. Yeah. Yeah, but it was a horrible experience. It was just enough with the, Jesus Christ. I don't need to know that much about 100 people.
How old were you when you read it? Like, what was the context in which you read it?
22 or something like that.
For fun?
Yeah. Just out of curiosity. I at that time I was collecting old classics and reading them. And so I still have them. I have a fantastic collection of classics.
Great.
And I read it. I read Moby Dick when I was supposed to be studying for a test in college.
Cool.
Just procrastinating. But yeah, too long.
Too long.
It's just but then again, like I read all of the Sherlock Holmes books. That could have been one book, right? And that would have been not too long. It was serialized, it's published in newspapers, then the individual stories were put into books. The first one is really long and the rest of them are pretty short. I could read that endlessly, even though it's not great literature, but it is a lot of fun. Yeah.
A fun fact about me is I've read the Odyssey and the Iliad twice each.
Man,
not by choice.
That is the hardest one.
Assigned, required in high school, required in college. Yeah.
High school. So once in high school for each, once in college for each.
Yep. And actually, what's really brutal about when they assigned it in high school was freshman year, when you're just so young and you're just like, oh my God, you're reading the Iliad and it's like, what is happening?
Yeah.
So yeah, read it in high school and college.
And then it always bothers me that the versions I read were rhymed in English, right? So it's like somebody translated it so that it would rhyme.
I don't remember it rhyming.
It probably didn't. I mean, I think most the translations don't rhyme, but they are in verse.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just, it goes on and on and on and on.
Yes.
So irritating to read. You can't, for the most part, they're not stories that grip you and carry you along, even though that's exactly what they were designed to do with their original audience.
The Odyssey is much better. And actually there's a movie coming out, which is cool. The Odyssey movie. Right. The Iliad is bad news. It's all lists of lineage and battles. Don't read the Iliad. Yeah.
Groups of people that nobody's ever heard of.
No. Outside of goodness. Yeah. I had interesting success recently kind of trying to get away from technology and back into this space that we were talking about. I bought an adult activity book from a really fun brand in LA that it's kind of humorous, and they have adult focused crosswords, Sudoku, logic puzzles. There are some coloring pages in there, but I don't really have like coloring stuff. So I just flipped over them. And it felt good. It felt really good to take a pencil, circle those words on the word finder thing, fill in a crossword, do a Sudoku. And I did it on the train to New York a couple mornings before work. And I felt so much more refreshed when I arrived than waking up and scrolling through my social media is so political and it's just so tense. And I see everyone else on the train doing that. Everyone looks miserable, scrolling through their phones or reading their emails, just miserable content. And I was like, well, I'm just doing a crossword and it's pure and easy. And I'm so satisfied when I get a word. And I just felt very relaxed. So I was like, I wonder why we lost this. I mean, it's perfect for little spaces like a train. And it's just people stop doing it. But I realized I can do it. I can go get a book. I can go to a Barnes & Noble or go online and get one I love, and I'll be better off. I'll be more refreshed for my day, and I will function better. So I don't really care what you guys are doing. So that was fun.
I feel like there's a set of skills that people need to survive the world that we live in. We need a modicum of self-discipline. People used to live in tenement buildings and go to work at 4:00 in the morning, and they had the self-discipline to do that because their survival depended on it. And to a certain
My
extent,
grandmother grew up
our
in a tenement.
psychological, who did?
My grandmother?
Wow. Yeah. See, I mean, our ancestors went through hell and they sucked it up and they did what they had to do. And I think to a certain extent, we have to start looking at it that way. We need to stop getting our news delivered through algorithms. We need to be able to turn off our connectivity and function offline for long periods of time. But we need to read long form stuff. We need to get our news through RSS instead of algorithms. RSS is fantastic, and people are act like, what happened to RSS? Well, it's there. Use it. Like you can use it. You can choose.
Exactly. There's so much stuff there. We just stopped using it. So many things.
Yeah. Newspapers are the greatest thing ever. Like you can read a newspaper.
Yeah.
You know, so, and people don't. It's like, it seems like an outlandish suggestion. And I'm not just saying be a Luddite. Like we need to be clear-minded about what's good for us, what's bad for us, what helps us, what doesn't help us, and take advantage of the things that are super high tech. Take advantage of AI, take advantage of augmented reality and advanced technologies, and also protect ourselves from it, because the industries that provide it just want all of us.
Yes.
And at some point you have to protect yourself from them and not give them everything.
That's the point I've been making. Exactly. Like I said with Sora, like they think it's dumb. You don't have to like it. You don't have to make Sora videos. Or the studios know they added 3 extra episodes when it didn't need that. They just knew it'd make more money. If you don't like those episodes, there's a reason, you know, you don't have to watch them. And it's you can feel the money and the business side coming through sometimes. And if you kind of have to sniff it out, and you don't have to like it. Don't watch that series. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Well, Emily, I think we're onto something here.
Me too.
And I think that maybe we should do an episode of like rules to live by.
Cool.
I think that would be helpful to a lot of people. But before we end on that positive note, can I give you a depressing note? I stumble across, I subscribe to a bunch of subreddits that are artificial intelligence related and that sort of thing. And there was somebody on there who said that, just basically talking to the Reddit community in general, said I'm a 26-year-old ugly virgin, and I'm just fed up with real life, and I just want to be plugged into some kind of virtual world and live there and not ever come out, and stuff like that. You know, I don't know who this person was or what they were all about, but I think that they expressed an extreme version of an impulse that exists a lot, especially among young people. And so I think there's got to be a way that we can help people in general deal with the world that is emerging from AI and all the various realities, but especially young people for whom all this stuff is normal, and they don't remember a world. Like they don't remember the world that I remember. You don't remember the world I remember either. But the world, as I mentioned earlier, of stereo equipment and vinyl, of being offline and just having no ability to look things up, find out information, of being able to stream content. We had to watch it live. Or we missed it,
Mike, right? I remember that. Come on.
You do? Okay, good. I don't. Okay, good. Thank goodness.
But I was going to let you have it for drama.
Yeah.
I was like, sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. But there must emerge in the culture, and maybe you and I can midwife this emergence to a certain extent, of how do we cope? How do we cope with what we're facing here?
Yes.
And a lot of it is because I'm still probably going to go back and write a reply to this guy. I've been thinking about it for a week or so.
Cool.
But step 1, get into nature. You got to be out in nature.
Yes.
Without nature, you're in trouble. You need culture and you need social interaction. Basic stuff. But people feel like completely defeated by the challenge of achieving these things that, nature, culture, and social, and that should not be the case.
No, yeah. I think that's what we both do in our work to some extent, because we were talking about these technological forces. You don't go out for a hike because you could just watch a series. So easy, it's relaxing,
Right.
you know. So you just do that, make a cup of coffee. You don't, get in the car, go out to the mountain. So I think they're really powerful technological forces we are fighting constantly. And it's so hard to check in with ourselves. Like, is this really the best thing? Is this what I want to get out of my weekend? But what we do for work is we know the technology industry and we can call them on it and say, like, they admitted Sora as a dumb product, or like we can help people see through it and kind of feel more empowered. Like, oh, I don't need to be on my phone 24/7, or why do I feel so bad on Twitter or on social media? Oh, because the algorithms, they work like this and that. They do this and that to you. And so I think we do that. Just sometimes in my work, I do struggle to take it to the next step of almost like well-being. It's hard to get there sometimes, like in typical article form. So I do think it's a good idea for the podcast.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. I think we've bludgeoned this title, this topic, and
I think we did a good job.
Future.
Bludgeon's a bad word. It's a negative word.
You're right. Yeah, we bludgeoned. You bludgeon or you beat a dead horse. This is not a dead horse. This is a living horse, and we need to talk about this, I think, in the future, because I think it's super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most dystopian things I have ever heard of is a video game where you are in an island that's covered with trash, and the game is you go around picking up trash. Why is this dystopian? Well, if you're thrilled by the idea of picking up trash, but you're not actually going outside and picking up trash to help
like
people.
Picking up trash, like a beach cleanup. It's fun.
Me too. Totally.
Yeah.
But not a video game.
No.
Where you get the gratification of being a good person, but you haven't actually helped anyone.
Right.
That's the dystopian part of it, right? So anyway.
So weird. I just got a text from my neighbor. I was a little distracted there for a second.
She's like, keep it down over there. I hear you talking.
No, I saw her name pop up and I was like, oh no. She's not super intelligent listener. She's like 75. She's informing me there's a huge storm about to hit. She says, hi, Emily. I just wanted to let you know the town power has stayed on in these storms, even in Hurricane Sandy. New Jersey Transit will often have trouble with trees on the track, but that doesn't affect the power. Hope you're doing okay. What a neighborly, just looking out.
Yes.
75-year-old, 80-year-old Maureen. So
more of that, please.
More of that. Thanks, Maureen. Anyway.
Yeah.
Got to go batten down my
it
hatches.
For us?
Yes.
Yeah, batten them down.
Yes. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. This has been another episode of the Super Intelligent Podcast. I think we're getting somewhere. If you think we are too, please share this. Give us a review. Give us content ideas, comment. We would just love to hear from you. And thanks again, and have a good week.